This has been quite an eventful week for my Duke and I.
Hello, Anita. Hello, listeners. Yes, indeed, it has. Can you believe our nephew Archie is celebrating his third birthday?
Oh, yes. And to celebrate his birthday, Harry and Meghan supporters are donating to World Central Kitchen. I definitely know about World Central Kitchen because I remember when Hurricane Maria hit the island of Dominica, which is where I'm from. They opened up a kitchen there. The hurricane was terrible, and a lot of people lost their homes and their belongings. And it was just nice to have this organization come and set up a kitchen and to serve um, people, everybody that was hungry. So it was just a phenomenal thing to see. And the beautiful thing about this, even though we now do not have an emergency right now because, we've recovered from the hurricane, the structure that they built, it is being used right now as a community center. So, it served two purposes. One, it was a place where people could get fed, and now it has been used as a community center. And in the event of, some type of disaster occurring again, God forbid, this structure, this building is already set up where, they could just go back to cooking there and serving people. So, when they leave, they're not just leaving and it's over. We have something that we can refer back to in the event of a natural disaster again. Hmm.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Yeah, I think it's both wonderful and amazing that Harry and Meghan decided to partner with Chef Andres. We know that food is at the heart of Meghan's community outreach. We recall when she first went over to the UK, the ladies that suffered that Grenfell fire, she actually went in and met with the ladies of the hub that were in a tiny little kitchen. And when she went there, as she spoke to them, she realized that, they needed a place bigger to make meals. And so she asked them about the recipes that they were using and suggested that maybe they could put it together and do a cookbook. And now we know the history of that, right? From the sale of that cookbook, they were able to build a huge community kitchen. And now, not only are they serving families that lost their homes in the fire, but they're serving a lot of the community that they live in London and the outskirts. So I'm saying all of this to say it. So this was a natural fit for them to team up with Chef Andres to do this community kitchen in times of disaster.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
I applaud them for doing that. And
Hmm.
as we know, Chef Andres right now he's over in the Ukraine
Hmm.
feeding thousands and thousands of people that have lost their homes due to the war. Now, these
Hmm.
people, I mean, he's going into train stations and all kinds of places that we can't even imagine to
Hmm.
make hot meals to feed all of these people. And
Hmm.
as you said, he has been to your island, but they've also helped out in this country.
Hmm.
Last year, when California, the wildfires, they
Hmm.
were there on the ground to feed families that had been displaced because of fires. They would
Hmm.
feed in the firefighters that were working to put these fires out.
Hmm.
They've been to Washington, D.C. to feed the military that were guarding our capital after the insurrection. So, yeah, they're everywhere. And, imagine going through a disaster and suddenly somebody show up with a hot meal for you. I mean, you and I have never experienced one, but can you imagine that
Hmm.
feeling, that gratitude and everything?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful job that Chef Andres and his team they're doing it, and I'm happy that for Archie and Lilibet's birthday,
Hmm.
the supporters of Harry and Meghan decided to pick this scores to
Mm-hmm.
honor these beautiful babies, our
Mm-hmm.
King Archie and our Princess Lilibet.
I know, our niece and nephew.
Yeah, our niece and nephew. That is so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and oh yeah, and so in addition to that,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember when Archie was born and the Archie comic came out?
Mm-hmm.
Archie comic came out with a little comic strip to honor the royal baby that was being named after him.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? For the third birthday, Archie comic added another comic strip to celebrate Archie's birthday. And the way it was captioned, I thought was funny. He said, "Baby big now." Baby big now, baby's 3. And so yeah, and so they've added another little clip to the comic strip as if the
Mm-hmm.
viewers get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're gonna do something with that and
Yes.
post it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so people can get a chance to see that our little King Archie's being honored all over the place.
I know. It is so cute, and they have 3 panels now. So
Mm.
you know what I'm thinking? This is going to be a continuous thing. Before you know it, a book will be
Oh
made
yeah.
out of those panels.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really cute. So, guys, stay tuned. I am going to put it together so that you guys can get a glimpse of it, those of you who haven't seen it yet. So,
Yeah.
definitely, you guys will have an opportunity. So, moving on, Denise, we did say that it has been an eventful week. Not only is Archie celebrating his third birthday, the Queen's Jubilee is coming up. The celebration of the Queen's 70th reign. Wow, 70 years. The Queen has definitely seen everything, right?
She's been on that throne for 70 years. Wow.
Wow. So, an announcement was made from Buckingham Palace that working royals, they said, will be on the balcony along with the Queen, possibly. The Queen has lost a lot of her mobility. And, after all, the lady is 96. So, they said that only working royals.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Harry and Meghan is not going to be on the balcony because, they're have left the royal family. So we expect to see people like William and Kate and her children who are still working, with the exception of Andrew. He's been stripped of his duties as a royal family member. So we expect to see the other working royals, but we do not expect to see Meghan and Harry and the children on the balcony.
Well, I'm not surprised that Harry and Meghan
Mhm.
and their children will not be on the balcony. I believe that
Mhm.
is a choice that
Mhm.
Harry and Meghan made for
Mhm.
themselves and their children, not to become a public spectacle. Because, if Harry and Meghan had taken their children, the paparazzis would be out in full and all focus would be on them, right? Harry and Meghan are now private citizens and they're going over at the Queen's request, which could possibly be her last final day's request to see Harry's children. And they're taking their children over there to see Granny. We know Her Majesty as the Queen, but to Harry, to Meghan, to Archie and Lilibet, she's Granny.
Mhm.
And so they're going over there as a private family to see Granny to honor her final day's request. And I think that is a wonderful, honorable thing that they're doing.
Absolutely. I'm happy that they're not on the balcony as well. Those paparazzi, they're definitely waiting for their money shot um, to take some pictures of these children and make money off of these kids, but they're not going to get that opportunity. I'm happy about that. And at the end of the day, that's an honorable thing that Harry and Meghan are doing, because at the end of the day, that's his granny and that's those children's great grandmother. And kudos to him for making that decision.
Yeah, and also what I think, Archie is now 3 years old,
Mm-hmm.
so he will always have a vague memory of her. Lilibet, she's young, she's only 11 months old. She may not remember her, but the pictures that they'll take will not only serve their memory, the fond
Mm-hmm.
memories that their parents will create of her in their minds, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also for the history books.
Absolutely.
you
Mm-hmm.
know so someday Archie will be able to look in the history books, and he will be able to see pictures of his granny holding his hand or holding him in whatever capacity, and he will know that he is a part of this history
Mm-hmm.
that nobody will be able to deny him or his
Mm-hmm.
sister of.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because of the close affection that Harry has always had for his grandmother, and Meghan too, I think it's really, really remarkable that,
Mm-hmm.
they're honoring her wishes
Mm-hmm.
and taking their children over in what could be her, you know, her remaining years on earth. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know how much longer she has,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that if I was in Meghan and Harry's shoes, the fact that she made this request and they've honored it, that
Mm-hmm.
is a wonderful, wonderful thing that
Mm-hmm.
they've done. And
Mm-hmm.
I have so much respect
Mm-hmm.
for them for doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would say, regardless of what, has happened between them and in that family, it shows that Harry has unconditional love for his granny. And to me, what he's doing, I would say, is not only that he's just going over there and seeing his granny and bringing the children to see their great grandmother. But I also think that is part of the healing process. When you think about the healing process, when somebody has done you wrong and you hold that in, it festers in you. And at times, the person that you have this animosity towards, they're fine. And you're left with that animosity, and it can be quite destructive. So the fact that Harry is going over there tells me that he has forgiven all of those who have done him wrong, and he's ready to move on, and it shows that he's the bigger person. And I think all of that comes with what he has practiced through his mental health preaching, to what he has discussed with the public about mental health. When you hold on to things, it tends to eat you up. But here he is, willing to let go of whatever that has been done wrong to him and to forgive. To me, that says a lot about the person. It tells me a lot about who Harry is and Meghan, that they're willing to let go of all of this and to go over there and bring the children to see their great grandmother. Tells me the kind of heart that they have. They are literally practicing what they preach.
Yeah,
It's amazing. And we should
yeah,
really take a note from what they're doing. We should observe and we should try to emulate that type of forgiveness.
yeah. I do agree. This is Mental Health Month,
Mm-hmm.
and as you said, if we, for those of us that are practicing Christians and know God, know His Son, in one of the Easter that we celebrate every year reminds us that Jesus was brutally crucified, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in one part, one of the things that he said was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It also shows us and teaches us that though Jesus forgave them and moved on, he still did not forget.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the moral lesson from that is when someone have done you wrong, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
that forgiveness is not so much for them, but for yourself, because you're not going to allow that animosity to fester in you like a cancer and eat you away, right? You're going to move on. When you forgive, you're able to let go and move on. And I believe that is what Harry and Meghan have done. I'm very sure they will never forget. They will never forget or allow anyone to do to them what was done to them before. But they're at a point where they can take their children to honor Granny's last wishes so that she can see these children face to face. And I would say even bless these children as they used to do back in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there they'll be able to move on. They can come back, and whatever happens after all of that, they will be able to say, you know what, we did the right thing, and we can live with ourselves and our and their children. What a great example
Mm-hmm.
they're setting for their children too,
Mm-hmm.
because someday, even now Archie's in the wise stage, someday you know they'll be asking more wise,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be able to look their children in the eyes
Mm-hmm.
and honestly said that,
Mm-hmm.
Granny asked to see you and we
Mm-hmm.
took you.
Mm-hmm. You know, the woman is 96 years old. Nobody knows the amount of time that they have left on this world. But as we've seen, older people tend to go, sooner than younger people. And the fact that she's 96, I think it's the right thing to do. Can you imagine that, it comes out that the queen wanted to see, these great grandbabies, and Harry and Meghan decided no to punish the queen. And eventually everything that has happened will be in the history book. Those children will grow up, they will read about those things. And I just think that they're doing the right thing. As I said, going back to healing, it's the right thing to do. No matter how complicated, no matter how difficult family members can be. At the end of the day, these people know the dynamics of their family. They know what is going on. We're looking from the outside in. And it is their decision to make. And I think at the end of the day, what they're doing sums up to everything that this couple stands for. They stand for, being selfless.
Right. Compassion in action.
Yeah, exactly.
What they're all about. Compassion
Yeah.
in action. And they're showing it.
Mm-hmm.
And, in all fairness, since Harry and Meghan have been together,
Mm-hmm.
they have always spoken affectionately about
Mm-hmm.
the Queen
Mm-hmm.
and about her husband, Prince Philip, Harry's grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was in the interview, they were very, very direct and
Mm-hmm.
careful to say whatever happened, it was not the Queen and it
Mm-hmm.
was not Prince Philip. They
Mm-hmm.
were very distinct about that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Harry has always had a special relationship with his granny. Meghan, when she came on the scene, she developed a special relationship with Granny because, as Meghan said even in the interview, she didn't see the Queen as the Queen. She saw her as Harry's grandmother through the lens of Harry's eyes, right? So she developed an affectionate relationship with Harry's grandmother. She has respect for the Queen, for, the monarchy, her reign. But as a person, she has affection and respect for Granny, the Granny that Harry loves so much and that he shows affection for. And Meghan is never, never hidden away from that fact. And in everything they've said, they always speak about their affection for the Queen, even to the point where for Archie's first Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
when the Queen asked what Archie would like for Christmas, Harry said he handed the phone over to Meghan, and Meghan told her that Archie wanted a waffle maker. And next thing you know, a waffle maker showed up for Christmas for Archie. So can you imagine Archie every day asking for waffles from the waffle maker that Granny sent him?
I know. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's wonderful that they have such a relationship, and I'm pretty sure as Harry also said, through Zoom calls, they've maintained this relationship. And, with Archie growing up now 3, he knows exactly who Granny is because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he speaks to her on Zoom often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, we're looking from the outside in, and we just have to respect what they're doing. And that's all I could say. And yes, respect what they're doing. They know their dynamics of their family, they know what is going on. And I think at the end of the day, they're practicing what they've always preached, which is community and mental health. So I do understand why they're going.
Yeah, well, I will give them the utmost respect
Mm-hmm.
as a couple and support whatever decision they make for themselves and their family. They're a brilliant couple. They have great advisors around them. But
Mm-hmm.
most of all, as many of us pray for them, and for sure, I pray with my prayer partner
Mm-hmm.
on Sundays for them. And my prayer is always for God to guide their path,
Mm-hmm.
give them the wisdom that they need to make whatever decisions they need to make in life. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that that is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing what is morally right, not just for themselves, but also in the sight of God.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing what is morally right.
Mm-hmm.
And kudos to them for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
to anyone
Mm-hmm.
that would say different, I would ask them, we live in a country in America that is quite racist, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have people that go out there in the military that put their lives on the line
Mm-hmm.
for this country. People of color put their lives on the line for a country that enslaved their grandparents, great grandparents, and ancestors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a country that continues to show racism
Mm-hmm.
in many aspects,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, are we going to say, oh, why these people serve in America? Because America is so racist, right? In some neighborhoods, you have police people that will just gun down, a person because they're black. If we have a break-in or something in our home, are we gonna not call the police because there's some racist police on the force, right? Or for those that work in a place of business that's racist, are we not going to show up for work because we have a racist boss?
The thing about it is that it all goes back to healing, and Megan has always said that the Queen has always been kind to her, and I think they're reciprocating that, and we just have to respect their decision, and yes, yeah, that's all I could say. We have to respect the decision, and I perfectly understand where they're coming from, and this is in line with what they stand for. I clearly see it.
I agree with you 100%.
Yes. So I am definitely not going to stop loving them. I'm going to support them. And because I understand exactly what is happening here, I've been following them for a long time. And, you see, charity begins at home. people
Exactly.
people forget that charity
Mm-hmm.
begins at home. They do for the world, but they said charity begins at home, and they're demonstrating that. They're showing
Absolutely.
kindness. The charity that they're showing, they're not giving them anything, like something physical, but they're showing them kindness. That is charity. That is something. So they're showing them that kindness, they're showing them that love, and it begins at home, and that's how they were raised.
Yeah,
To,
exactly.
mm-hmm.
And I've always thought, why would Harry want to be exiled
Oh
from his own
yes.
country just to
Mm-hmm.
please these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why should he have to live in exile because the family members were made nasty and cruel?
Mm-hmm.
to him.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what he and his wife are doing, they're facing their tormentors.
Mm-hmm.
They're going over there. They're going to take their children to see
Mm-hmm.
Granny, and they will leave. And as long as they have the security that they know that they need to protect themselves and their children, and it's mainly because of who Harry is, why they need this kind of security. They should be able to go in and out of England anytime they please.
Absolutely. And to me, they're coming out victorious because they're not
Absolutely.
letting their bullies win, you know?
Exactly.
They're coming out victorious. Why? Harry was born in England. He grew up there. He went to school there. Why should he be exiled from where he's from? He has friends there. Why should he not go back to England? I think
Exactly.
if he does give in to that, he's letting other people win.
Exactly. Exactly. He
He's
will be exiled from the land of his birth. The same
exactly.
thing, yeah, the same thing with Meghan. Meghan
Mm-hmm.
has been visiting the UK even before she met Harry, since she was
Mm-hmm.
15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She has friends there,
Mm-hmm.
right? She has, I think one of her classmates from Northwestern University actually lives over there with her own child going to university
Mm-hmm.
or going to school over there. Plus, she has other friends, and her friend Serena plays tennis over there at Wimbledon.
Mm-hmm.
Should she be in exile because a handful of people have been cruel and nasty?
Mm-hmm.
No, it shouldn't be that way, right? This is a free world, and both Harry, Meghan, and their children should be able to go in and out of the country whenever they please.
Mm-hmm.
And mark you, Harry's mother's family, their aunts, grand aunts that these children need to meet and know where Grandma Diana lived and grew up.
Archie was born there too.
Yes,
You know?
yes, Archie, though he has dual citizenship, that is also the land of his birth.
Exactly.
Therefore, they have every right, as much as any member of that royal family, to go in and out of that country as they please. Now, mark you, they don't have to go and visit other members of the family if they choose not to. But we do know that one person in that family made a request to see them and to see their children, and they're honoring a 96-year-old granny's request. And that should be the focus.
Exactly.
That should be the focus. They're honoring, this could be her final days on earth. And if her eyes should close tomorrow, they can live with themselves and said that we honored Granny's request. And
Exactly.
that's what it's all about to me.
Absolutely. Yes. And we're talking here and defending Harry and Meghan's decision, and we shouldn't have to do that.
No,
We shouldn't have to do that because if anybody knows them, we know that this is who they are.
Exactly.
This is who they are, and the heart that they have tells us there's no way Harry would punish his 96-year-old grandmother by keeping his children away from them. Absolutely not. That is not who they are. And people have to understand that.
Right, exactly. And remember that to the world, she's the monarch and the queen. But to Harry, Meghan, and their children, she's Granny.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I support them 100%. I even love them more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too.
Because I always love Queenie. She's
Yeah.
so cute. How could you hate on her?
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, we know what the institutions stand for, but, as a grandma, as a little old lady, Harry has set the tone, and from
Yes.
way back, you know what, I even reflect and think how when the only member of the family that you've seen the queen with in her role as queen, the only person that her face lights up when she sees them is her grandson, Prince Harry.
Mhm. Mhm.
Whether it's a formal occasion or a
Mhm.
not formal occasion,
Mhm.
when you see the affection between them, you
Mhm.
can't help but like her.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you remembered that picture um when she was walking around inspecting the guards, and at that time I think Harry was in the military,
Hmm.
and she came upon him to inspect him. You could see both of them were smiling. So
Yeah,
whether it's a private event or public event, they cannot help themselves but to show the affection that they have for each other, and it's just amazing to see. It's really cute.
yeah. I mean, Harry on his own has humanized her
Mhm.
to the rest of the world,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
when we see them, it's a grandma looking at her grandson,
Mhm.
whether they're sharing a joke or just,
Mhm. Mhm.
clowning around.
Mhm.
And I think
Absolutely.
a lot of the affection that we have for her is
Mhm.
based on the on what we've seen between
Mhm.
her and Harry, because
Mhm.
I have not seen that kind of affection.
Mhm.
I've not seen her show that kind of affection with
Mhm.
none of her four children,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Even though they said one, she has a favorite son. I haven't even seen her show that
Mhm.
kind of affection for that favorite son.
Mhm.
But for
Mhm.
Harry,
Mhm.
I've always seen that public show of affection. And
Mhm.
yes, people might say, well, she didn't stick up for him, but you know what? She also doesn't have a voice to do as she please,
I
because the
know.
courtiers are always behind the
Mhm.
scene telling her
Mhm.
what she can and cannot do, even
Mhm.
though she's the queen. The queen is a title that they just kind of use and manipulate
Mhm.
to
But
suit,
mhm.
their own circumstances.
You know what? It's true. And I agree with you because look, when Harry did that interview, he said that he wanted to make sure that she has the right set of people around her. He's want to make sure that she has the security around her. So, which means that I think a lot of what we see out of Buckingham Palace, sometimes I think it's not even from the Queen. I think they're making decisions on her behalf. And I don't think Harry would have made a statement like that if he didn't see something was not right. So I'm definitely taking cues from that. I'm reading between that, and I'm seeing that, you know, they're definitely manipulating some of the situations over there.
Oh yeah, a lot of it situation. Even in the Oprah interview, he said
Hmm.
that when he and Meghan returned from Canada, their intention was to go directly and see this queen and
Hmm.
speak to her, and
Hmm.
that visit was intercepted.
Hmm.
They would not allow him to go and see his grandmother.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
So that.
know, so
Hmm.
yeah. But anyway,
Hmm.
everybody knows the deal.
Hmm.
They know that on My Duke and I,
Hmm.
we fully support Harry and Meghan
Hmm.
and the decision that they've made for themselves and their
Hmm.
children.
Hmm.
They have our full support, and
Hmm.
that's where we can, I guess that's where we can wind up.
Yes. So.
And we have a template
Hmm.
from our faves
Hmm.
on what unconditional love is all about. We have
Hmm.
that template if a
Hmm.
situation should ever arise in our own lives
Hmm.
similar to theirs.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I would say to our listeners, thank you for
Hmm.
taking time out of your schedule to listen
Hmm.
to us.
Hmm.
Please don't forget to subscribe.
Hmm.
And until next week,
Bye, Denise.
bye, Anita.
Hmm.